But this can happen with smokers trying to quit, and I figured this would be relevant to your work. So the way it would apply to a smoker is that the first time, I wouldn't say excited, but confident that they can quit smoking. They want to quit smoking and they really believe, I can do this. Then they fail, start smoking again.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, they're like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I need to quit smoking. So they do it again. And then 3 or 4 times later, they unsuccessfully quit smoking. Their confidence is like they're just going to give up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If that makes sense. So.
Yeah, for sure. With my work, we just did some focus groups with heavy adult smokers. And that was definitely one of the main themes that came up from it, is that these people have tried to quit so many times and they just feel this sense of hopelessness and lack confidence in their ability to quit. They feel like they've tried everything on the market, from nicotine replacement therapies to actual therapy to lasering to medication to the patch, reading books, like you name it. They feel like they've done everything, and they definitely do have, yeah, you're right, this kind of learned hopelessness where they just lack that confidence in their ability to quit. And they feel very isolated, at least for in this circumstance, because it feels like a lot of other people are able to quit smoking around them. Like lots of them, would try to quit with friends or in groups, and maybe other people in those groups were able to quit, but they still haven't been. And so it really feels like it's something isolated with them, and they're like the last person on earth who hasn't been able to quit smoking yet.
And I'll go into this soon here, but part of that learned helplessness is a certain pessimism that's like transfers over to a lot of other areas of your life, and then you internalize it. But yeah, like you're just saying, is that like even though you want to quit, willpower usually isn't enough. Learned helplessness is like the collapse of problem-solving strategies or the avoidance of challenges, and that's a trait of learned helplessness. So that's why it's difficult. You can't just tell someone like, "Hey, bad, stop."
Yeah, but that's the problem. People do that. And that's actually what the project that I'm on at work right now is about, is the fact that so many cessation campaigns who are supposed to be helping people to quit smoking or helping them on their quitting journey are very aggressive and negative, and they further shame and isolate the smoker, which is not helpful and not effective. And that's a method that maybe worked a little bit, the scare tactics in like the 90s, but that's not what people want anymore. It's really clear from the focus groups that we've done that people want to have campaigns that are empathetic and compassionate and supportive of their journey and help to build up their confidence and self-esteem. So, yeah.
No, definitely. And then like, it's kind of like you have the nicotine therapy or whatever you call it, the patches and stuff, right? Even people that try that, it would make sense that you start out with a high nicotine, slowly lower, so you have less withdrawals, right? But still, people fail using that, and that just shows that it's the mind. There's still the mindset there of the behavior they have, right? So it didn't increase their problem solving or wanting to complete the challenge, right? So
yeah, well, there's just so much associated with it. Like, it's not just the nicotine, it's
Yeah.
Like we've talked about this in an Influential Generation episode that Julian was on with me, the first episode of that podcast. We'll put the link below if people want to listen to it as well. But in that one, we talked a little bit about the helplessness that people feel in there, and that you felt a little bit in your quit smoking journey, because there's just so much more that's involved when you're trying to quit smoking. Like there's the nicotine addiction, but you talked in that episode about the routine, right? Mm-hmm. And people talked about that a lot in the focus groups as well. The routines that they have, that the cigarette breaks are, you know, built into their daily habits and their daily routines, and the stress release, and of course, like the actual movements associated with smoking, the community, the environments. Like there's just so much involved.
Yeah. Well, most of addiction, not just smoking, is like the drugs out of your system. I can't remember what it is for nicotine. Do you know? It's not.
I don't know, 24 hours, something
like that.
I can't remember.
If it was just a chemical addiction, once it's out of your system, you'd be okay, right? Whereas like people want to smoke a year after they quit smoking. Obviously, it's a little less of a temptation, but they still have that thought process in their head. Maybe you can disagree with this, but I thought it would be more effective to actually, if you were going to help the person, say in therapy and stuff, it would be more helpful to change the belief in themselves, maybe enhance their problem-solving strategies, and help them take challenges head on rather than their belief they hold on smoking.
What do you mean their belief they hold on smoking?
I'm thinking that, like, not just that they think smoking is bad. Obviously, they know it's bad, and that they want to quit. Where is I going here? I just lost my train of thought.
I think I agree with what you're trying to get at. It's not. It's really about changing their mindset in the way that they think about smoking currently as something that they need, and it's a part of their life, and it's their habits, and it helps them cope with things, and changing that mindset to create new habits. So one way that I have found that I tend to look at it is not trying to take something away when someone's trying to quit smoking, but replacing it or adding something new in, so that you don't feel to the same degree the loss of the addiction, but you're filling that space with something else, which is a challenge. Like in the focus groups, we talked about this idea a little bit, and some people mentioned that it's really difficult to, you know, find that new habit that they want to spend their time with. They're like, smoking is easy. A smoke break doesn't take much time. Like it's just quick. Whereas, you know, starting to exercise and doing different things, like they're like, that's harder. It takes more time. But if you add up the amount of smoke breaks during a day, you probably would find it doesn't take more time, really.
No, yeah, this is definitely true. You can even go to the gym for 20 minutes and you'd be spending a third of the time at least. Yeah, so there's that. I think, in my opinion, addiction is mostly psychological and it's not chemical. Because obviously you have the other element of it, that some people's temperaments or genetics, you're more likely to be susceptible to addiction, I guess.
Oh, which Julian has very strong opinions about people who say that people have, like, their genealogy and stuff their genetic makeup makes them more prone to addiction.
Yes. I'll definitely go into another episode. It'll be the whole episode.
You definitely could do a whole episode about that.
Yeah. But so to continue on,